Alrighty then. It is Sunday, the day before I start with a paid employee, and something I'm actually going to be talking about. It's right there. It's the speech to get everybody excited, and I'll make sure that that's good to go so nobody contacts me. So for the next year and a half, let me just give you some advice that is definitely going to be relevant. Okay. So I don't know if you've been aware, but the economic slowdown in real estate has been happening for about 8 quarters. Okay, so in New York City, I don't know where it is where you live, but essentially for the last 8 quarters, 7 of the 8, the pricing has gone down. 20% of the homes since 2013 that have sold have been below what the market is, what they actually bought it for. Okay, so 20% of the homes. There's just a lot of stats that it's not in the real estate favor. In the stock market, I don't follow that as much, but essentially that's been going up and down and up and down, and everything else. It's up, I think, year over year, 4%, which is not a lot, considering it was up at sometimes 10 and 12%. So this is the piece of advice that I'm going to give you. And this is what I'm going to say to the people tomorrow. I have someone that's starting there brand new, is that you're going to see a lot of consolidation in the real estate market. So that means that overhead is exactly the same. The market is really good or the market is really bad, you still have to pay rent. The market is really good, the market is really bad, you still have to pay employees, you have health insurance, you have salaries, you have subscriptions that you have to pay for real estate services to get your listings out there. The people that you do business with, as in other words, photographers and videographers, are exactly the same. So in other words, the overhead is exactly the same, okay? So for the next year and a half, you oil your systems. You get your habits dialed in so much that when this consolidation happens in the next year, because if you haven't noticed that it's going to be an election year next year, I went through 2012 and I went through 2016, nothing happens. Okay, so in other words, what does that mean? Nobody buys, and it's really hard to sell things. Okay, so for 1 year, you have to stow away as much cash as you can for the next 1 year. Every deal, every dollar you spend, every deal you do, you have to stow away. For every dollar you spend, make sure, is this the best use of my money? Don't buy miscellaneous bullshit. This is not the time to upgrade, okay? Because for the next year, it's not going to be that good, okay? And it's going to be a great time to buy. It's going to be an amazing time to buy. And this is the thing, is that buyers know that. So for the next year and a half, it's going to be really hard to bring sellers to where the buyers want to buy, and there's going to be less transactions. So this is what I'm going to tell the agents. By the way, what does that have to do with all the real estate market? So all of the real estate market essentially is saying less transactions, less commissions, less deals that are actually happening. So the overhead is exactly the same, but the amount of money they're making is down here. So really, there's going to be a ton of money being tapped into their cash flow, not even their cash flow, their reserves. And I know that quite well. So I know how many months. I have 6 months of reserves, always at all times, now and into the future. It was never like that. Actually, I've had up to only like 48 hours or even a week, many times a month, before I didn't have any money. I had no way to pay things. So I'm very diligent with my money now because I don't want to go through that again. And this is what I'm going to say. What's going on, Chris? Welcome to the live. I'm Charles Botensten. This is what I'm going to say is for the next 1.5 years, okay, until 2021, the spring of 2021, there will be not much going on. You be vicious with your money. The amount of times that you have to follow up is going to increase. The amount of time between when someone raises their hand, it says they're interested in your product and service, and when they buy is going to be an extended amount of time. Between when someone actually says yes to something, when you first contact them, that amount of time is going to be extended, okay? Get so good that when all of these companies, and it will happen, okay? All of these real estate companies, and there's going to be a bloodbath in the tech world. When all of them get wiped out, because they've been, as Gary Vaynerchuk talked about 2 years ago, they've been riding this beautiful wave, but as very intelligent people said, we'll see when the tide goes out who has their pants down, and that's probably going to be about 20% of the industry in real estate will get by 20% of the agents by. So for the next 1.5 years until 2021, because the election will be really ramping up next year. Nothing's going to happen at this time right before the election. I'm still going to be hitting the phones hard, really hard, harder than I've ever called. And the reason being is that, as Grant Cardone said, is that don't lower your goals, up your activity. Okay? When everyone's fucking talking about, oh, it's a bad market, dude, just call more. Convince them. Hone your systems. Hone your pitch. Get better at selling. Understand influencing. Because if you can do the next 1.5 years, this is so important. This is exactly what I'm going to be talking about to the two people tomorrow at the office, is that if you hone it for the next 1.5 years, when spring 2021 comes around, spring 2021 comes around, your machine will be so solid, it will be so oiled that you will just dominate the marketplace. That's all I'm saying tomorrow. So essentially you have a buyer right here. This is the best way to visualize it. You have a cog. This is a buyer. Here's a seller. To bring them together so they actually do a deal, you are essentially the oil in the system. If you're an employee, okay, there's going to probably be layoffs in your company. If you are a if you are a service, the amount of people that are buying your service will probably go down. If you're a product, unless it's something that's 100% necessary, like toilet paper or food or something like that, then it may not be needed, okay? Beer sales may be going up, okay? But if it's kale salad, that's probably not going up. I will buy it, but that's not for everyone. But you oil that machine so well, 2021, it will skyrocket. I promise you. I will look back at this video and I will say, I told you so. Because when that consolidation happens and everyone is scared next year, you're getting better, you're going to have the money, and then you're going to relaunch in 2021. So if that's not the best piece of advice to stow away 6 months of overhead, I'm already calling probably, I'm already seeing it, by the way. Does that mean put your social life on the back burner again? 100%. Dude, look at, okay, I'm reading Keith Cunningham. Keith Cunningham has an amazing book called The Road Less Stupid, okay? It's at home. But on my morning bike rides, not outdoors, indoors. I would never wear headphones outdoors. That's just stupid in New York City. That guy is so brilliant, okay? In other words, what he's saying is that if you can't measure it, then why are you spending money on it? Okay, a billboard, how do you know what the ROI is? You have no idea, okay? The best way to look at life is ROT, return on time. Your time is everything. So this is the best way to think of it. Where you put your time is where you put your attention. Where you put your attention essentially says, this is what I value, okay? I value social media over doing the one thing. I value Netflix or binging. Social media, unless you are an influencer, which I freaking hate that term because they have no idea what they're talking about when it comes to fitness. No idea when it comes to health. This is the book, by the way. I'm going to do a review on it. I just read it. The End of Alzheimer's. This book is essentially science. This is science. This was rejected by pharmaceutical companies because it's not a pill. This was rejected by the Alzheimer's Foundation because it's not a pill. They didn't even invest in it. It just shows how corrupt. And that's why I love people like Perlmutter. I love people like this that say, you know what? I'm just going to go right to the people and defend over years of research. I don't even know how many ridiculous years of research. This guy has just, the first portion is way too technical for me, but there's a couple of tidbits in there that I go, wow, that's interesting. How do you know what are good quality electrolytes? Well, there's really not many good, I shouldn't say there's not really many good products out there. There's actually one good product that I just started taking because I cramped pretty hard on Saturday. It wasn't actually that bad, but I know that I didn't have enough salt because you sweat and you sweat your salt out. Okay, and it was funny. I told someone that I don't wear deodorant and I don't shampoo my hair, and they're like, "What?" And I'm like, "Yeah, because I sweat and I eat right and I don't really drink alcohol and I drink a lot of water, so there's no toxins. I don't smell ever at any time. Like, yeah, maybe if I don't shower for over 24 hours and I just have like residual sweat on me and I don't take a shower, yeah, I'll smell then." But day to day, I don't smell at all. I haven't showered since this morning, and I smell great. It's if you eat clean, and you drink a lot of water, and you just live a healthy lifestyle, you'll be fine. Do you understand how many toxins are in all the shit that we put? I'm so grateful I'm not a girl. The amount of toxins and metals that are in makeup is frightening. Okay. Deodorant. You're literally putting it on sweat glands. When you sweat, your gland opens up and all of that goes into your body every single day. I don't care what anyone says. That's not good for you, okay? So I would focus on health. These are the three things I would focus on in health. Number one is sleep. That is the foundation. This year, I am absolutely convinced that is the number one thing that anyone at any time needs to focus on, because that decides when my last cup of coffee is, that decides on how much alcohol I consume, that decides when I eat. My last meal should be 4 hours before I go to bed. Last coffee should be 8 hours. Last alcohol, I think, is 6 hours right before you go to bed. And that's not even completely out of your system, but it's not enough, or it's not bad enough. You also need Himalaya pink salt, yes. Electrolytes are totally different. So salt is different. So I obviously have Noon. I just had actually 4 of them. That's why my cup is like that. But I would say Noon is probably the best ones. It's not the most, it's definitely chemicals, but it definitely hits everything that you need. So I would highly recommend. I gave it to Eric, or actually, yeah, Eric had a couple, and then he has, I think, like two a day, and he's noticed a difference. I'm telling you right now, we don't even have a baseline of being healthy. That's the thing. We don't have a baseline of being healthy. So when we walk around and we're saying, "Oh, I feel great," that's actually lower than normal. But you don't know that because you're always tired, or you're always dragging ass, or you're eating too much. Sugar is the number one thing that needs to be removed from your life, okay? I have removed all sugar from my life unless it's natural, which is fructose, but I've any kind of high fructose corn syrup, any kind of just processed sugar, I actually get a headache, which is wonderful. My body says, "Whoa, what's this toxin?" Okay? I break out. I don't sleep well. I don't have clear thoughts. Break out as in acne. And it also it also, that's things that I actually feel. By the way, sugar just rips out your gut. Okay, you have too much of that, then you get leaky gut. Leaky gut leaky gut means that anything that you consume then just goes throughout the body. Okay, it doesn't actually go through the digestional tract. That is the worst thing. It's actually not good. So the oatmeal, I think you actually said it, the gluten-free, I go gluten-free oatmeal with organic peanuts, organic raisins. So the peanuts obviously high in fat, which is really good. Peanuts are high in fiber. They're obviously fructose, sugar. Gluten-free, which is carbs, which I need. Salad cleans out my system, do that. And then at night, I do gluten-free bread with peanut butter, or not peanut butter, almond butter, and organic something jelly. And the reason being is that I am burning. Today I did a ridiculous run. I've already done, I've done 20,000 steps. I don't even know how many calories that is. I'm probably upwards of 4,000 to 5,000 calories. So I have to eat a lot. And I did an hour bike before that. So I'm looking, and that's all the walking and everything else. So it's really in line with what you do activity-wise. So I got to pop out. Have an amazing day. And stow away cash, 6 months of reserves, oil your machines, focus on sleep, focus then on diet, then focus on activity. It should not be activity then food, because most people reward themselves with food instead of saying, actually exercise. No. Number one is sleep. Number two, because with sleep you have clearer thoughts, you then start reverse engineering your life. Okay, sleep is number one. Number two is your intake of food. Number three is activities. If you could clear that up for the next year, 1.5 years, 1% better, that's it. Don't have perfection. Perfection is the enemy of starting, okay? So I gotta pop out. I gotta go down to my office, AKA my home. Have an amazing day, and it's a new one tomorrow.